The next scene, Daniel chapter 7, verses 9 and 10, speaks about the judgment. Notice, I watched till thrones were put in place. Were the thrones there before? No, because they're put in place, right? And the Ancient of Days, who is the Ancient of Days? God the Father was what? Seated. Was He seated there before? No. At this point in the prophecy, He what? He sits. And now notice He is described. His garment was white as snow, and the hair of His head was like pure wool. His throne was a fiery flame, its wheels a burning fire. Oh, so this was a throne that had what? Wheels. It is a movable throne. It moved there from somewhere else. Verse 10. A fiery stream issued and came forth from before Him. 1,000 thousands ministered to Him. 10,000 times 10,000 stood before Him. The what? The court was seated. That means that the judgment is going to what? Begin. And the books were what? Open. Where is this judgment taking place? This judgment is taking place in heaven. That's where the angels are, and that's where the Ancient of Days is. Jesus taught us to pray, Our Father which art everywhere. No, He said, Our Father which art where? Which art in heaven. The Ancient of Days is in heaven. This scene, this judgment is taking place in heaven. Now let's jump down to verses 13 and 14. Verses 13 and 14, because the Father moves in this throne that has wheels into this place. He sits down, but then somebody else moves and joins Him there. Notice verses 13 and 14. I was watching in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man. Who is that? That's Jesus. One like the Son of Man coming. If He's coming, He must not have been there before, right? Where would He be coming from? If we're following the order of the sanctuary, where would He be coming from? Not the earth, no, of course not. From the holy place. Isn't that where Jesus has been ministering since He ascended to heaven, in the holy place? So if He's moving, where is He moving from? From the holy, and what is the next apartment? The most holy. And so it says, I was watching in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man coming. And some people think, see the second coming. Not the second coming. Let's continue reading. With the clouds of heaven. What are the clouds of heaven? The angels. And where is He coming to? To the earth? And His second coming? No. It says, He came to where? To the Ancient of Days. He's not coming to the earth here. He's going to where His Father is going to perform a work of what? Judgment. And so it says, He came to the Ancient of Days, and they, that is the angels, the clouds, brought Him near before Him. And what does He go there for? Notice He goes there because the kingdom is going to be taken away from the little horn and is going to be given to whom? To Him. Do you remember our study yesterday? What came after the 10 toes and the clay? There was a gigantic stone that what? Hit the image, and the stone became a mountain that filled the whole earth, and that's Christ's everlasting what? Christ's everlasting kingdom. And so it continues saying, then to Him was given dominion and glory and a kingdom, that all peoples, nations, and languages should serve Him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion. See, this is the climax of the vision of Daniel 2 as well, which shall not pass away, and His kingdom, the one which shall not be destroyed. Does the judgment begin after the little horn performs his evil work? Yes. Do we have an unbroken sequence? Babylon, Medo-Persia, Greece, Rome, 10 kingdoms, little horn, judgment. That's what I want us to see for now. We still don't know how long the little horn ruled, but we're going to see that in a few moments. Now, Daniel was grieved by this vision because he didn't understand it. So in Daniel chapter 7, in verses 15 through 18, we find Daniel expressing his grief and asking Gabriel to explain what this vision means. Let's read beginning at verse 15. I, Daniel, was grieved in my spirit within my body, and the visions of my head troubled me. I came near to one of those who stood by, and asked him the truth of all of this. So he told me and made known to me the interpretation of these things. And here comes a brief explanation. Those great beasts which are for what? For kings. But as we noticed yesterday, kings and kingdoms are what? Interchangeable. I'm going to prove that to you in a few moments from Daniel chapter 7. We already did it in Daniel chapter 2. Remember? God said to Nebuchadnezzar, you are the head of gold, but then he says, after you will arise another kingdom. So it's not only Nebuchadnezzar as a person, it's his kingdom. We're going to notice the same thing here in Daniel chapter 7. Now, let's notice what it continues saying. These great beasts which are four kings, which arise out of the earth. But the saints, now notice, but the saints of the Most High shall receive the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. How were the saints treated during the period of the dominion of the little horn? The Bible says that they were what? They were trampled upon and they were persecuted unjustly. How is God going to solve that problem? He's going to perform a work of what? Of judgment. And in that judgment, He's going to pronounce a judgment against the little horn and in favor of whom? And in favor of the saints that were persecuted during the 1260 years, and also a group that will be persecuted in the future. Are you following me? Now let's go to Daniel 7, verses 19 to 22. See, there's something that Gabriel did not explain that Daniel wanted to understand. And so it says there in Daniel chapter 7 and verse 19, then I wish to know the truth about the fourth beast, which was different from all the others, exceedingly dreadful, with its teeth of iron and its nails of bronze, which devoured, broke in pieces, and trampled the residue with its feet. And he wanted to know about the 10 horns that were on its head. And the other horn which came up, before which 3 fell, namely that horn which had eyes and a mouth, which spoke pompous words, whose appearance was greater than his fellows. And then Daniel is still speaking. I was watching, and the same horn was making what? War against the saints and prevailing against them. Was that just? No. Who was right? Was the little horn right and the saints wrong, or was it the other way around? It was the other way around. Did things have to be rectified? Yes. And God rectifies it by the judgment. Now notice what it continues saying, verse 21. I was watching, and the same horn was making war against the saints and prevailing against them. Until when? Until the Ancient of Days came. And what did He come for? He was seated, and the books were what? Open. Does the judgment rectify the wrong decisions that were made on earth? Absolutely. Does it vindicate the saints and condemn the little horn? Absolutely. Verse 22. Until the Ancient of Days came. If He came, He must not have been there before. Hello. And a judgment was made, what? In favor of the saints of the Most High. And notice that first the verdict is given, and then it says, and the time came for the saints to possess the kingdom. Is there a difference between when the verdict is given and when the verdict is implemented? Absolutely. Because it says here, a judgment was made in favor of the saints of the Most High. That happens in heaven before the Ancient of Days, where the Son of Man is. And then it says, the time came for the saints to what? To possess the kingdom. Question, even in the world today, is the sentence executed the same day that the sentence is pronounced? No. The sentence is given, and then after a time, the sentence is implemented, right? Do you have an investigation of the evidence before to see who's right and who's wrong? Absolutely. Do you suppose God is going to do an investigative judgment in heaven before Jesus comes to execute the judgment and give the reward? Yes, because when Jesus comes, He says He brings His reward with Him, which means He must have determined before what that reward would be. Are you with me?